Welcome to AkamaiTV. My name is Tara Bartley, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Michael Goodman of Strategy Analytics. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Today's topic is 5G, a topic that many people are familiar with but confused about. Is that fair to say?
I think that is very fair to say. I think 5G there's probably more hype associated with 5G than a lot of things. I mean, you walk around the show floor and you will see 5G this, 5G that all over the place. So I think one of the important things is sort of separating the hype, the fact from fiction, wheat from the chaff.
And that's exactly what we want to talk about today. What can OTT providers that Akamai works with expect from 5G, and what's the time frame of the reality of 5G?
Yeah, I think on a lot of ways, those are two really important questions, and I'm going to tackle the second one first, is the time frame, because I think this is the one that too often, this is where a lot of times we get lost, that the facts get separated from the hype, is that, now, first of all, 5G is a wonderful technology, and it truly is got some important advances in the industry. But with all the hype surrounding it, it feels like that we're going to just snap our fingers and tomorrow we're going to have all of these this 5G network available to us, and that's just not the way it's going to work. It's going to take a number of years, because it's like any one of these technologies has to be built out. And in some ways, you could argue that there's more work to building out a 5G network, because the whole principle of 5G network is it's these small cells, small density cells that you're putting together and overlapping them to create this network. Whereas if you think about mobile technology historically, it works off of these towers. And the towers service several miles, and so you can have one tower servicing several miles, another tower. Whereas with 5G, we call it small cells, and each one is significantly smaller than a traditional cell tower, and so you're going to have a lot more of them. So it's kind of a numbers game in terms of putting all of these out, and that's going to take time.
And who's ahead of the game? Is it fair to say Verizon is ahead of the game here in the States?
Verizon is definitely early to market. They're trying to gain a first mover advantage. They have a number of markets they've rolled out. It's not perfect. There's definitely been issues that they've had. When their network is working optimally, you can get really fast speeds, 600 megabits per second. When their network is not working so well, which happens far more than they would like it to happen, not so much.
Right.
You probably are lucky if you can get anywhere approaching, typical broadband speeds. So it's kind of a hit or miss thing, and it is very clear that 5G is a technology in development. I think that's probably the most important message that if nobody hears anything else I see today, is recognize is that while 5G offers a tremendous number of benefits, it's also a technology that still has a lot of bugs in it, and it's going to take time.
Of course, but our customers and the OTT providers out there, they really like to plan ahead.
Yes.
So what can they do to prepare?
Well, and I think that's a really good point, is that they do want to prepare. Just think about the things that you can do with it, the faster speeds, the lower latencies. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be this year that you're going to see a majority of people having these things. But this is the end result. This is where we're getting to, that 5G is going to provide these, and frankly, it's going to provide if we think about from the media companies that are Akamai's clients, it's going to provide new opportunities for them, because it's going to bring new players into the game.
Right.
It's going to bring wireless carriers that are going to be offering competitive video services that they don't offer today. I think T-Mobile is a perfect example of this, is as they work as to how they can integrate a video service on top of a broadband. All of this is being based off of 5G. 5G is think about 5G as the building block, or a foundation for the house. That 5G is going to provide the foundation upon which new services are going to be developed.
That's a great analogy. And this is what NAB is all about, right?
Yeah.
companies come to NAB to see new products, to see new technology, and to plan for their future.
Yeah.
So this seems like exactly the right time to be talking about 5G.
It does, and I think kind of where we started this conversation, the important thing for any company that's going to be here is it's very easy to hear this is what 5G is going to provide to you. You know, fast download speeds, fast streaming, low latency. This is the promise of 5G. But also don't expect that you're going to get these things in 2019. Mm-hmm. You may start to see in a few select markets these things in 2020, maybe. Mm-hmm. But you know, the US and globally, these are big places. You're not going to see everybody have access to this. And the other piece of it is there's also the consumer side of this, that we've sort of focused on the deployment of the technology, whether it's Verizon rolling out 5G or other telecom wireless providers rolling out. That's only half of it. That's making 5G supported services available, but it's how many people are going to have 5G enabled handsets? And if you're going to offer 5G into the home, are consumer electronics manufacturers going to build a 5G receiver into televisions? Are you going to need some kind of base station? You know, there's a whole ecosystem that has to evolve around this. It's not just deploying 5G small cells.
Right.
That's step one. But then it's getting handsets into consumers' hands at prices they're willing to pay. What is the consumer electronics side of this going to look like? Is it set-top boxes? That much of what we talk about is what I'll call step one.
Right.
It's the other pieces that have to come along to make these markets a reality.
Mm-hmm. I always think about the consumer point of view whenever we talk about technologies at shows like NAB. And I think to myself, how often do I purchase a new device or a new phone, other than maybe losing it at the airport and the need to? So how often do you see with the trends consumers purchasing those new devices that will be 5G enabled?
And that's a really good point, because a lot of times, so let's just talk about video for a second, because there's a lot of different things where 5G is going to come into play, but I think this is going to be one of the more difficult ones to penetrate, because it's not just, if we think about handsets, people buy phones more frequently than they buy television sets.
Oh, right.
And you know, how are you going to, if you're going to be if you're T-Mobile and you're delivering video over 5G, and you're delivering it to the home. We're not talking about to a phone at the moment.
Right.
Well, you have to have a termination point in the home, i.e. you've got to be able to think about how people watch video. They watch it on their laptop, they watch it on their phones, they watch it on their tablets, they watch it through game consoles and smart TVs, and all of these different ways.
Sometimes three at once.
Exactly,
if you're
sometimes
my
three at once. Well, 5G has to be able to access all of these devices, whether these devices have some kind of 5G receiver or there's some kind of 5G gateway or router or something, like right now, connected TVs and all these devices are connecting to a router. So are they going to connect into some kind of 5G router and pick up the 5G signal that way? These are all the questions that have to be answered that are going to determine how successful 5G and how impactful 5G is going to be as a product or service. 5G is really, it's a technology.
Right.
And I don't think there's too many people out there that are sitting down and saying, boy, I can't wait to get 5G. It's what can I do? It's what does 5G enable? That's really what people want.
If you're part of my family, you're asking over dinner, what is 5G, Tara?
Exactly. And you know what, quite frankly, most people aren't even thinking about 5G. And this is partly where, it's a marketing question also. It's that, are you selling 5G? Or are you selling products and services that are being enabled by 5G? And my argument would be that in order to be successful, it's going to be about selling the services. That maybe it boosts sell-through for digital sell-through, buying movies, because buying movies has been eclipsed by streaming services.
Of course.
People get it Netflix and with Disney or Hulu, and this is how. This is the biggest part of the home entertainment market. But if you went back 10 years ago, people bought movies. They rented movies. But those markets have really cratered in the last 10 years. But if I could, be able to download a movie in seconds, maybe that gives a boost to those. But the point being is that it's about the services that 5G enables. Not that I'm going to run out and buy 5G because I can't wait to get this new and greatest technology. There's probably a few of them out there. But most of us, it's about the services that we're getting. And am I getting a better video product? Am I able to get a better experience from renting or downloading movies? Is 5G going to allow for a better viewing experience? These are the questions that 5G has to answer.
Mm-hmm. You talk about purchasing movies 10 plus years ago. It's a funny snippet on This Is Us the other night where the character says, Blockbuster isn't going anywhere. So yeah. we have to wrap up shortly. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
I think my final thoughts are that for any company, it's absolutely imperative that you're paying attention to what's happening in 5G. But where we started this conversation from, it's really important that you're separating fact from fiction and understanding, A, what benefits it's really going to provide for me, and most importantly, when I'm going to start to get those benefits. Because Verizon will tell you, we're rolling out 5G today.
Right.
But for the couple of hundred people who actually are able to get it and do something with it, who are probably Verizon employees, right. It's probably not such of a marketplace. So understanding those factors are really important.
Okay. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today on AkamaiTV. We really appreciate your insights. Thank you so much for everyone who joined, and we will be back with AkamaiTV shortly.